Henry, how long have you been going to Canadiens games?
Well, I remember going probably when I was less than 10 years old. I mean, my father had tickets in his company, and that famous stink bomb that went off in the Forum when Maurice Richard was suspended for slugging a referee, that was 63 years ago, and our tickets had been established for a while then. In fact, they were quite close to Clarence Campbell, who they were after for this suspension, and we weren't at the game, but our tickets were very close behind one of the goals. I don't know why those people sat there those days, but anyway, they did.
So memories from the early days at the Forums, anything kind of stick in your memory?
Well, it's a show too. It's not just the hockey games. and the thing that sticks most in my mind is this guy who used to bring a trumpet, and he would blow the charge. He would play the charge, and everybody would cheer. And what I remember was the spontaneity of it, the naturalness of it, the engagement of it, compared to the current situation where everything's programmed by PR people, and the cheers are all worked in. The only thing left is the woman who plays the organ so enthusiastically. She's fantastic. But it's sad that we've lost some of that other stuff.
You have great tickets at the Bell Center. Is there a story behind how you got such great tickets when they transferred from the Forum to the Bell Center?
Yeah, we're 7 rows up on the red line behind the players' bench, so you can't complain about that. Our tickets got shifted at some point, and they ended up being inside the blue line where the Canadiens were defending for 2 periods. And when they opened the Bell Center, they called people up to call people in according to the quality of their seats. So finally they got to us, and they offered basically the same kind of seats. And I said, well, I'd really like them on the other side where the Canadiens are attacking for 2 periods. And she said, well, I only have a quarter of the place, so I can't do that. And I said, well, what else you got? And she said, look at the screen. I look at the screen, and as you can imagine, that there were seats left around where I was as they were getting to people. And there were these 2 seats just sitting there right on the line, basically on the red line, about 7 rows up. And I just said casually, can I have those? And she said, sure. And so we got these tickets in perpetuity.
And 2 of the best seats in the house.
Yeah, I think there were people who were there probably went up to the raft, up to the, whatever it's called, the fancy stuff. And maybe the other people sent their secretaries or someone, and I came myself and just picked them up, and that was it. It was just a fluke.
Those seats, the seat you're sitting in, are they from, where are they from?
Oh, these seats.
Yeah.
Well, when they closed down the Forum, they sold your own seats to you if you wanted to buy them. And I thought this was crazy, but my kids were big fans and insisted we had to buy the seats. And they come in very handy. We bought them, I don't know, when it was 20 years ago or something, when the Bell Center opened, whatever, they come in very handy. I'm using them now for the first time for this recording. They sit in the basement, and we put on, when we go skating on the lake here or snowshoeing, we sit in these seats to go out on the lake. And I don't know if you want to ask about.
Oh, yeah, no, what's the elephant?
Well, this is the elephant in the room, Karl. For years, I've heard about the elephant in the room. Finally, we have an elephant in the room. No, seriously, the seat was kind of coming up a bit. So I went around the house, we're in the country, and I went around the house looking for something to weigh it down. And I went up to the kids and grandkids' room, and I thought this elephant would be the best thing of all. But you notice we're trying to keep our distance.
Socially distanced with the elephant. So how often do you get to games these years?
Well, I don't go that much. I mean, I can afford these tickets, right? I mean, I pay for them myself. I don't have a company where I can give it away to my customers and all that and justify it. So basically, I do this myself, and it's a ton of money. So I sell most of them just ideally to one person, and we keep about 15 games in the family. So I go with Dulcie, and my own kids go, and my grandkids especially go, and my daughter-in-law is the keenest one of all, and so we we go we go.
It was interesting that this year the Canadiens didn't do great during the normal season, but made it through to the Stanley Cup. They're struggling at this point. But why do you think they got on fire in the playoffs?
This is the big question, and it's in all sports. Why is it, I used to remember the Canadiens, when I was going, their second period was usually their worst period. I thought, at least when I was going, and it kind of like, why did they play better in the first period than the second period? Why did they play better on Thursday than they played on Tuesday? Why did Leicester suddenly appear out of the blue and beat all these famous, Manchester United, Man City, and Chelsea, and all those? Where did they come from? There's a chemistry in the way people play together. They just get fired up. Something fires them up, and they get very enthusiastic. I'm just describing what I'm seeing. I'm not explaining it, but there's something. If somebody could figure out that magic, do coaches have anything to do with it? I don't know. It could be just, it's like classes. When I teach, we teach a lot of executive. You okay?
Yeah.
We teach a lot of executive programs, and every class is completely different, depending, I think, on 2 or 3 people. If somebody's very sour, it could leave that mood. If somebody's very upbeat and enthusiastic, it generates that mood. And we do what we can as faculty to get that kind of mood. I guess it's the same with a team. It's just a few players, maybe, who just get very enthusiastic. And it's amazing. I love to watch the Canadiens now. I mean, the first few games in the series with Tampa Bay, they weren't doing very well. Or first game, they weren't doing very well. But then the second game, they started to hustle, and they really went after the puck, and they were grabbing the puck away all the time. They didn't win the game, unfortunately, but it's wonderful to see that kind of energy and enthusiasm. Why? Some strange chemistry.
Well, you're one of the leading management thinkers, and you've been the sports editor of the McGill Daily. You've been a fan in seats there for decades. Any advice for Jeff Molson as the CEO and Marc Bergeron as the general manager? Any advice for them?
Well, I'm not going to tell them how to run a hockey team, and they're probably not even going to tell the coach how to run a hockey team. I frankly wish they'd stop dumping the puck, because it's just boring to watch. And according to how I see it, they lose it more often. The key to real estate is location, location, location. I would think the key to hockey is possession, possession, possession. But anyway, who knows? But I would say something about, it's wonderful that a Canadian team, for the first time in God knows how long, are in the Stanley Cup finals. It's wonderful that we had a Canadian League this year, although they didn't dare call it the Canadian League, so they called it North. We're suckers. We gave away our game. It used to be managed out of Montreal. We've got the best fans in the world. We've got the most enthusiastic audiences in the world. We've got the best television activities in the world. We invented the game in Nova Scotia, and there's no talk of Halifax getting a game. So,
Well, Quebec City didn't get a team when
Quebec City and all kind of Hamilton, and New York has 3 teams. Los Angeles has 2 teams. Montreal, which is the best franchise, or maybe Toronto is the best, but the 2 of them each have 1 team. We're suckers. We should have a Canadian League, and then we could play off against the Americans every year and beat them. Tampa Bay has more Canadians. Probably got a lot of Russians, but probably more Canadians than anything. So we've got, Canadians dominating, but, in Tampa Bay and in Las Vegas, of all places.
All right. Thanks for your time today, Henry, and I hope you enjoy the game tomorrow.
I hope we win. We only need 4 more, Karl, to win the Stanley Cup.
One lives in hope anyway. All right.
Bye.